Hey guys, it's Jasmine, your brow expert. Today's gonna be a little different. It's not gonna be about brows. Well, it will be. So many of you guys asked me, like, can you please show me what you do on your eyes, your cheeks, your makeup routine? And I've done some of that in the past, but I thought, why not do it again today? And show you some of the products that I always mention in the descriptions and what I do to quickly get ready for work. I am nearing my 60s, so I find that I'm doing less and less and less. And I hope that you will find that you don't need as much. But you know what? I love makeup. I used to only do makeup, be a makeup artist, and I tell all the young people, as long as you don't do anything too permanent when you're young, go for it. Have fun with makeup. It's getting close to Halloween. Why not, right? Because you could always wash it off. So, but I just want some of you that are nearing the mature stage and still want to do some makeup you'll find that with some of my tips, maybe you haven't thought of, or maybe you have and you're like, oh, so that's what you look like without any makeup on. So please stick with me and give me some feedback. Let me know if this was helpful for you. But yeah, I'll see you guys in just a second. All right, guys, so let's try to get this makeup started here. And my hair out of the way here. So, okay, so like I've said, I'm nearing my 60. So I try to keep my makeup as simple as possible, partly because I have very little patience in doing my makeup. I like things very quickly. Maybe that's why I do eyebrows, because it's a quick way of getting such deep satisfaction. Okay, so here's what I do sometimes, and here's what I do almost all the time is just, first of all, it's about the skincare. I mean, that's the most important thing as far as really good skin. I think you guys would agree to that. So I use a lot of potions, serums, and just seek out a local dermatologist to give you maybe a little bit of retin-A or just any of the skin stuff, extra things you can put on in the evening just to kind of even out the skin tone. But that's an option. Just always make sure that my skin is clean before I go to bed. I never go to bed with any form of makeup. So if you guys are doing that, stop that. Okay, so here's something that I mention on all my videos when I give you guys in the descriptions, some of the stuff I use. And that's what I just want to quickly cover. So my skin is prepped, right? And you want to make sure to do the least amount, at least for myself. And so that's why I almost always use, this is the blurring, I don't know, I don't, it's so awful. I don't even memorize these. The hydrating cream. Now, this is really, really easy to use, right? Because it's just, you roll it out and you just go for it, right? You just put it on. And I don't like a ton of coverage, but that's an individual thing, really. I always like a little bit of skin to come through. I have a lot of freckles, but I don't really care. And so, as long as you do some key things, I think that's the most important thing. And I'll show you that in just a second, a minute. And I do use a darker color as well. This one I believe is 9. They have high numbers to it, but they don't go on that dark. So don't be too scared. Because remember, it's like just a tinted moisturizer. It's more of a even the skin tone out as opposed to like a ton of foundation. And I do like a little bit of a darker color. As you can see, I'm almost done with this, but I just grab it on my finger and just get the last bit of it. And I do like to put it down below here because my jawline, I like it to look a little softer. But I don't do that all the time. Some of the times. But, it's really about just evening the skin tone out, right? And I do put a little bit on the eyelid because, our eyelids can be, very uneven. At least for me, I also have unevenness here and I have some freckles. So that is why I always put it there. Okay, so quickly, remember I said quickly. I quickly just apply this very, very fast. I don't spend a lot of time. Sometimes I will put the blush on first just to see how much the skin absorbs that. Depending on how dry or oily you are, I'm more combination. And I thought as I've gotten older, I'd be more dry, but I still managed to be on the oily side. And now I don't mind it. When I was younger, I hated it. So I almost always now use whatever the blush that Anastasia releases. And this one I've been obsessed with. This is the Magic Trio Touch Blush. And it comes in 2 or 3 different types of shades. I picked the pink one, but I can probably use the other colors. I just go for the whatever I'm in the mood. If I want something subtle, I use the one up here, the subtle one. I believe, I mean, you guys know the colors when you look at it on the website. But so we're going for something, if I'm going for something subtle, I'll put it right here on the apple of my cheeks. If it's not, if it's too subtle, or if I'm wearing something that's very cool tone, blue or gray type of outfit, I'll grab the pink. On my yellow skin, it does absorb some of that pink, so it's not that pink. But I like my cheeks to be a little bit on the rosy side. Ladies, if you're maturing, I believe the blush is very important because we lose a lot more color, at least for me, I have. So I like to add a little bit of blush. Obviously, you don't want to go too much. You don't want it's always that balance of looking like a crazy doll and looking like just a little bit of youthfulness, not young. I think I've mentioned this to you guys before, but I hate the term anti-aging. I don't mind getting older. I mean, there's a lot of pros, in my opinion, than cons, but if you embrace the pros and try not to highlight the cons, I think you'll do much better. I think a little bit more, I don't know, just better. Better in that I don't overthink too many things that doesn't matter. So I think that's why I like getting older. But you know, the makeup just adds more youthfulness. But again, it's not about trying to look young. That just, I don't know. I think that just looks silly. And again, the least amount you do, the better. So then on the eyes, this is the least part of what I pay attention to, is that I put that little tinted moisturizer on here, right? And if I'm in a hurry, this is kind of crazy, but yeah, so I'll just grab my finger sometimes, and you guys see me write this all the time, the Spice Trio. As you can see right here, I use the middle part almost always. I rarely use the other parts. If I want kind of a, I don't know, more of a retro muted look, I'll grab for the non-shiny. Now, you're thinking, well, I'm older, I don't use shiny glitter. A little goes a long way, and I believe if you have more of a shine or a little bit of glitter, not like Halloween glitter. Remember that. A little shine, ladies, will give you more of a dewy, healthy look. So if you see me do this, well, you're seeing me do this, you can see that, you know, just it adds more dewiness. It I don't know, it kind of gives, what's that word, healthier look. So that's why I like this. I mean, I'll just quickly apply it here. It can get a little messy, but you know what? It's just shine. If it falls on the face, great. Not a big deal. Sometimes I'll put it on the top of my nose because I just like it. You know, I used to be a makeup artist a very long time ago, like 3 decades ago. So a lot has changed since then. But I do still know a few key things, right? And so a little bit of shine never hurt anyone. Okay, so, and I just realized how many wear these little tie things on the wrist and forget about it? Me. Maybe it's an age thing. I don't know. Okay, so, and you're going to see me putting more shine towards the end of this thing here. Okay, so the brows. Let's get to the important stuff here, right? This is why I do my page. This is why I think everyone should follow me. Subscribe. Share this with someone and say you need to follow her. Because the brows are the trickiest, the easiest, obviously, right? The cheeks, you just put it on your cheeks, right? Lips, just a little bit of lip gloss. Everything else is fairly self-explanatory, especially if you just want a little bit of makeup without going too crazy, right? And you're not a makeup artist. So right now, I'm just going to show you what I've been into is the brow pen. I've actually been using the brow pen for quite a bit now. You guys know this about me, I hope, if you've been with me for a while. Because I have an old tattoo, and I say old because I've had this done many, many decades ago, and it's kind of been touched up over time. The last time I had my brows touched up or tattooed, microbladed just means it's just a style. It just is a street term saying that there's hair strokes or the technique of it. I say street term because I was told that it was never really like a real term. But because the applicator or the tool that they use is not a blade, it's obviously, right? So that would imply that it's a scalpel, then your skin would open. It's just tiny little needles shaped in a blade-like form. So it's just prickling the skin and putting little ink in the skin. There's a lot of pros and cons to that. I really suggest you guys to go back to my other videos and what that's all about, if that's for you. At the time, it was for me. Would I do that again? I don't know, maybe, because your face changes. Again, I'm nearing 60. Your face moves. Therefore, your ink will move. So if you still want to get it done because you don't have any hair at all and you're applying your eyebrows like a Sharpie or your shape is so off, you know that it's going to be technically uneven. No one has even eyebrows. Our face isn't even. The more you try to make it even, the funnier your face looks. Trust me, take a selfie. Have someone take a photo of you. You'll know what I mean. So it's about trying to get a little bit, just a little bit. I can't stress that enough. So if you don't have much hair, you don't have a microblading or tattoo, I suggest to my clients and some of you guys, or all of you guys, whoever's watching me, is to apply a little bit of color on the brow area. Whether it's a powder, say you go, I use a powder, put a little bit of powder. So, because for me, obviously it looks like I have some powder on, right? Because it's that faded tattoo. The tattoo has faded, thankfully, a pretty good color, but for most of us, it could turn red, blue. If it's done wrong, it turns blue. Wrong meaning they went too deep into the skin. If it turns a little bit on the red side, the ink might be archaic. They need to update on their ink, mixing, maybe skin chemistry. There's so many variables, you guys. I have a little bit ink, if you saw me close up, a little bit of redness, but it's more of a flesh color. I don't mind it because I'm a makeup artist. That's why I tell people, if you're going to get a tattooed or microblading, get it as thin as possible, even though you want a fuller. Because, one, it will shrink over time, but you don't want the full brow tattoo to move where your skin moves, right? Because you could always add makeup to adjust that. And I always put makeup on my tattoo. You think, oh, once it's tattooed, you never have to get it done, right? Or put makeup on. Well, that's a misnomer because you don't want to expose it to the sun. It'll change faster, the color that is. If you're a swimmer, the chlorine, you know what I mean by that. So if I put some makeup on the eyebrows, it actually protects the skin or the tattoo. So say you use pencil. Pencil's fine too. You just don't want to use a ton of the pencil because it's made out of wax, right? So you don't want too much product on the skin. So I just tell people to pencil your eyebrows in the way you are used to doing it. So just go for it. Sorry about my eyes wandering around because I got this new phone and I'm like, do I look here? Do I look there? So please excuse me for that. This is about as real as it's going to get, right? Okay, so do your pencil. I never like head on because that's too dark, too much, too heavy pressure. So always lay the pencil around. I think you have more control that way as well. But just get enough. It's not about getting the brows perfect with the pencil. Again, it's not about getting it perfect. It's just about getting your brows come to life. As soon as you start putting a little bit of color, it just comes to life, right? Then, especially with this, especially with the pencil, also with the powder, but especially with the pencil, because then if you spoolie the pencil around, don't press too hard, because then obviously you're taking off what you just did. Just spoolie a little bit around it to disperse the pencil, just enough to where you still see your eyebrows. So then you're like, you naturally have a little bit of a background. You're like me now. So then that's when you grab the pen. You guys, the pen can be intimidating because it looks like an eyeliner. Some people use it as an eyeliner. I use it sometimes as an eyeliner, using the darker one, of course, like granite. I'll use a little bit on my eyes just to add a little bit of, I have a tattoo on my eye lash line. I also have a video on that. That's an option. As we get older, we lose more density in the hair, therefore losing the frame of your face. So that's why I opted to do this years ago. It's not easy. It's not painless. Remember that, even though they use a numbing cream, and you would think I can handle it because I have so many ink on my body. Very different, guys. Very different. So lash line, just a little bit, can also work with this guy. But so you want to do the hair strokes on your eyebrows, or say you don't care about the hair stroke. You just need something to stay on all day. And you've used the pomades. It can get a little tricky, too thick, too messy. Try the pen because it goes on like a watercolor. And I use the hand. I tell people, use your hand to like see how much pressure to use. Remember, the tip is what you're mainly using. If you use the base of the pen, the base, can you see it? The base, meaning the part where it's lower to the pen, it's gonna go on thicker and wider, right? So the tip is gonna give you that line. I always hold it this way, okay? Okay, I say okay. I say okay a lot. I want to not do that as much. So this is what I'm doing. I'm going in the direction of my hair, or at least I'm wanting to go in the direction of my hair. My hair here, if you're Asian, you know what I mean? It grows straight down. And maybe for some of you, you're not Asian, it still grows down. I'm going against because I want that lift and I want that hair looking like it's going up look. So that's why I'm directing my pen this way. Sometimes some people get really technical and get fancy and do this three-dimensional look, wanting to look as real as possible. Then they do this to, that's where the hair grows. The hair grows up here, you do this. So that's getting a little technical. I just like to just do this. And I always go at the middle to the end first. Just get the color on there and using the tip. You almost feel like you're not actually touching your brows, but you are. So that way you're ensuring that the tip is just being used. Once I feel comfortable, that's when I do the front. You guys, the front can get really dark and really messy when you first do this. If you're becoming an expert, you can probably just do the front and you're fine. So just, the idea is to just get the lines on there. It's all about the lines. Now, you can press hard here. I'm going to show you right here. I just go right over, then you can see that line. Now this area, I don't have as much hair, so I can touch it a little bit heavier just to get those thicker lines. So here, thicker lines. The front is where I just don't get those thick lines. The front is where I get these little thinner lines, so that's why I do this. I love this product because if you just have nice full eyebrows and you have a gap, then just draw that little line there. And the reason why I use this also is because it lasts all day. But, I'm just quickly doing this just so that you guys won't get too bored. But it's about these cat scratches, which is what I use that. I use that term a lot. But the reason why she reinvented the brow pen, the Microstroke Brow Pen, is that she added a spoolie brush, which, by the way, I love this spoolie brush. It's not too thin, it's not too thick, it's just right. So you're just going over what you did, but lightly, especially in the area where it's already light. But here where the hair strokes are thicker, press a little harder. But it's really about light pressure. It's just kind of tones it down. But you don't obviously want the lines to totally go away. It's the whole reason why you're using this product, right? Because you're wanting that stroke look. But again, if you're not really concerned about that and you just want a brow shape to stay on all day, that's when you just kind of lay it down and just get some color on there without worrying about doing those hair strokes. You're just getting it on there very, very lightly. Choose a pen that's 2 shades maybe lighter than what you would typically go for. Go to a counter. Ask them to pick a color for you. Try some on your hand. See what's lighter than what you would typically pick and start off there. So that way you don't look too garish. That's when you use a spoolie brush. And so again, towards the end, I didn't really do the strokes just to give you guys an idea what you can do. This just gives you a brow shape and for it to last all day without looking too stampy, like you just stamped on your eyebrows. Because that doesn't look good, at least not to me. Okay, so, and not having it too perfect is what also will make your brows look kind of natural. There is no one that has perfect looking eyebrows, you guys. If you see them on social media or a celebrity, they had it done perfectly with makeup. No one gets up perfect eyebrows. And I like it as natural as possible. So here's the other thing that I do is the eyelashes. Now, this is something I'm not going to bore you guys with because it could take me almost 15 minutes to do. It's probably my longest repertoire of my makeup because I have very sparse eyelashes. My lashes are like feather, really. So I'm careful using the lash curler. I've tried a few different lash curlers, the trendy ones. as well, where it's not Shiseido or Shuamora. It's, but you know, it actually pulled my eyelashes out. I don't know why it did that, but I do use a lash serum. You can find those at, I think I use RevitaLash serum. Forget which brand, but I'll put that in the descriptions. I put a little bit so that the lashes will get longer, but you guys, there's no such thing. Hear me on this. There's no such thing, and I've even verified this with dermatologists, doctors that recommend lash serums. There's no such thing as making more hair follicles. If that's the case, we would not be balding. We would just throw this product on, or you know, I know those Rogaines can work, and I don't know all the scientific or medical terms of how it works. You can look up, Google that. We have so many resources nowadays. You guys can look that up. But as far as I know, there is nothing out there that makes more hair follicles. And as we age, we lose the density. Say you have full eyebrows, but you notice that it's more sparse and you didn't tweeze your eyebrows. I mean, look at the men in your life that doesn't shape their eyebrows. And as they get older, they're losing the frame of their face. So the lashes is why I put a ton of mascara on. That's why it takes me forever. And here I'm using the Shiseido Lash curler. I've used Shuamora. I do like the Japanese brands. It just works for me. It doesn't pull my lashes out. But you guys, I've been doing this for decades. I've even used this on clients when I've done makeup on people. It takes a little bit if you're not used to it. But you know, most of us have been curling our eyelashes since we were kids, right? Right? So it's not that difficult. You just, and you know, get a magnifying mirror if you're not already using it. I use a magnifying mirror because, you know, I'm nearing 60. So I need extra help on my vision here, guys. So those of you guys have something good to look forward to, right? Good times. There are some things that I don't like. That's one of them. So I use a cheap brand of waterproof mascara. I say cheap because I just need a little bit for the application, but I'll show you the real mascara that I use. But the reason why I use a waterproof is that it just doesn't make my lashes fall down. I've tried a gazillion of them, trust me. And some of you may not have that issue. You just have sparse eyelashes. My issue is not only does it grow straight down, it's like feather. So I can't have too much weight on the eyelashes, otherwise it will go down. So use a mascara that works for you. Try a mascara that works for you. Because, I mean, like certain products, I can tell you it's the best. You try, you're like, it's not the best. It's really what works for you. And unfortunately, some things, you kind of have to go through it yourself to find what works for you. So yeah, there is a little bit of maybe wasted money, but hopefully the investment isn't too much, right? You know, cheap waterproof mascaras are not that expensive. Really isn't. This is also kind of cheap. I use a Kill Lash. I get this at, you could get this online. Amazon, I think, is the best resource to get this. I got this in Korea, but now you can get it at oliveyoung.com, or, you know, Sephora. The reason why not Sephora, just Amazon. The reason why I like this is that it keeps my lashes up and it thickens my eyelashes by a lot. And part of the reason why it does that, because this is where I do have a little bit of patience, although I don't have patience for the rest of my makeup, is that each strand of my hair, if I put a ton of this stuff on, it can get pretty thick. So for me, yeah, length is good. This is why I use the RevitaLash. But it's about thickness. I want my one strand of that hair to be as wide as possible. So that way you can see my eyelashes. I can see my eyelashes. And you know, you guys, you agree. It makes such a big difference. Now, here's something that you may not realize. I don't go too long without closing the lid first because it's waterproof. Any air will dry out the tube too fast. This goes with any mascara, whatever mascara you use, whether it's waterproof or not, right? So I've done this in the past, I will cut the tip of this, and while I'm doing this, I will close this up so that way no air gets in. This is when I get really crazy about it, to savor each, you know, mascara where I haven't had a chance to buy a new tube. Try to savor the one I have. So this is where I spend most of my time, guys. So excuse me for that, but I think I took a little bit longer than I should have here. But that's what I want you guys to see. As far as the lipstick is concerned, you guys see me do this, or right, sometimes I'll put something on my lips, sometimes I'll just put lip gloss on. And even on the Trio blush, when I've done my blush here and just kind of tapped it here, I've also tapped it on my lips, because you could do that just to get a little bit of rosiness. I don't like a ton of lipstick on, and part of it is because my lips thinned out a little bit. I will put a little bit of lip gloss to make it look like it's fuller. I know there's a lot of trendy stuff out there right now. Again, I'm all about easy and quick. And I believe the older you get, the less is better. Remember that. When you're younger, you can really go all out. I always tell my young clients, have fun. Put the blue on your eyebrows, blue eyeshadow. Put it's you can take it off at night. So sometimes makeup to me is art, and you should have fun with it. Even if you look at someone like, oh, she looks like she has tons of makeup, who cares? Let them, right? Let them express themselves, as long as it's not all a ton of tattoo makeup. That's when you're like, oh no, because it's permanent. This is not. So, and a lot of times I'll use my lip liner. I'll line my lip a little bit to look a little even, but sometimes I'll just the lip liner. I'm like trying to talk doing this at the same time. I'll do the lip liner, and then I will use that as a lipstick. I'll put a tiny bit up here, move it with my finger, and sometimes that's it if I want that kind of retro matted look. But a lot of times I will just grab the clear lip gloss, and you guys see me write this in the descriptions, and that's it. I'm like, makeup done. I am not kidding you guys. This is about as real as it's gonna get. I don't do much, and this is a lot to me. But you guys get the idea, right? Let me put my hair down here. So I'm having a pretty good hair day. Sometimes I don't, sometimes I do. Most of us can relate with that. But anyway, the hair's getting long. I might trim it, not sure. Kind of in that middle phase here. So thank you for indulging me. If you guys have any questions about this, I get asked this a lot. Please show me the get ready with me, or what you guys do, what you do on the face. And I'll get more maybe into it later, maybe when the holidays come up. But this is what I want you to take away is as little as possible. A little shine is fine. Oh, speaking of little shine, sometimes I will finish the whole makeup with more shine. I did say that, right? The Glow Seeker. I will put a little bit more shine here, here, here. Like I said, I'm not afraid of it. Please don't be afraid of shine, because shine will make your skin look healthier. And I get more confidence when my hair is a little oily and shiny than not. So remember that. Even if you feel like I have a lot of lines on my face, actually the dewier, the shinier your face looks, the less your lines will be. And start mentally getting used to that, because it does feel weird when you're like, oh, I need to powder my face. And I don't touch my face. I almost never touch my face. If I have an itch, I will grab something to itch it. I won't almost never use my finger, because that's obviously not healthy for your skin. So hope that helps. Thank you for your time, and I will see you guys next week.